On our next segment, we're going to go back to the line of scrimmage and show you some of the Ram football highlights from the first year of JSPC, 1988. And Bill, we think of, in terms of offense, David Sabis, the 1,000-yard rusher, and maybe not a typical 1,000-yard rusher in that he did it kind of the hard way, really, didn't he? I mean, there weren't a lot of big runs in there.
I don't know how many carries he had, but he had to have an awful lot, and as you said, he never had any big carries. He was really a hard-nosed, tough, very tough runner, always trying to get that extra yard all the time, and he did it. He got hurt in the first game of the season against Guthrie Center. He developed a turf toe, and it bothered him all year, and again, when I said that I'd like to go back and see that football team again, I'd like to see David Sabis again, because if he had been healthy, I think he could have maybe broke some runs, because he was really having a hard time running on that toe.
And, Joe, you're going to see Joe Towers make just a phenomenal leaping catch against St. Edmund, then holds on to the ball in the end zone as he hits the ground. And, that's, I guess, kind of the type of athletic ability we're talking about.
Well, and we had mentioned it earlier, the athletic ability on that team was phenomenal, and it was just too bad that the system wasn't there. And David Sabis, you go back to the system, I'm sure it did hurt him a little bit that he had never grown up in a system, Coach Kibbe's system, and to have the ability or the time to really work into it to really excel over time.
And then the rest of 1988, as far as offensive highlights, featured those two guys. There were also players such as Larry Ford, and Ronnie Bentz had one of the goofiest plays, Bill, we've seen in the highlight film. He snapped the ball over his head as the punter, and he picked it up and threw a complete pass to midfield and got a first down. That's one of the goofier ones I remember. Yeah. And some other plays from the 88 season. You're going to see, Joe, where some players such as Dan Matthews, quarterback from that very first team. Steve Hunter was one of the few big linemen. He makes a couple of fine defensive plays in there. Just a few of the names. We certainly can't mention everybody, but there were some good players there.
I think Mark Miller played on that team, too.
Yep.
He did an outstanding job. He got hurt in the last 2 ball games. We had a real good season going in spite of, not barely getting together like we should have. We were sitting there 5-3, and then and leading Denison for the conference title over there. And then Mark got hurt at halftime. We lost that one, lost to Boone, then finished 5-4. But there were really some good athletes there.
So let's take a look at the tape from the year 1988. Kicker Scott Swanson boots a 21-yard field goal here in overtime for the only points of the game, and the Rams upend Algona Garrigan 3-0. In 1988, Carroll High. And the Rams at Carroll Stadium, and there's 1,000-yard rusher David Sabis in for a score. And the Rams get a deflected pass interception. Nice diving grab. Ronnie Bentz, the Ram punter, was fortunate here. A snap over his head. He had presence of mind against Waukee to pick it up, throw a complete pass.
We felt that if we could force that, while they may throw one away once in a while, maybe we could get a fumble there. And we came close and so many times this year that holding penalty has really hurt us. And then we have no gain on second down, and we come up with a big play to Joe Towers, very similar to what's happened a few times this year. So this was a great throw and a great catch.
Beautiful pass over the middle. Towers takes it down at the 6-yard line, and the Rams have first down and goal to go. Sabis slants over the right side for about a yard.
I think Monarch defense was a little shocked that you were able to throw so successfully on that perfectly executed pass play.
Then here again, things are not looking very good as we get 1 yard on first down, and then we take a loss back, and we were thinking we're going to have to try a field goal again.
This is 3rd and 7 now. Matthews drops back, can't find anyone open, and scrambles on almost a quarterback draw play for the touchdown.
Against Fort Dodge St. Edmund, the place where Coach Kibbe was at just the previous fall. David Sabis on some hard running. And then the Ram defense comes up big, thwarting the Gales on the last play of the first half. And time runs out in the second quarter. Here's a great diving catch by Joe Towers from Dan Matthews for a touchdown, 24 yards. Next up, 1989. Some of the highlights that you're going to see include some long passes, some from Mark Lane and others from Phil Gose at the quarterback spot. Todd Gaston with some nice catches. Nate Carver with some fine individual plays as well. Steve Carey. Some of the folks that you're going to see in 1989, Todd Geisler had one game he was just phenomenal, particularly on wingback type counter plays. Geisler, Carey, those types of wingbacks, Bill, have been instrumental over the years, busting some big plays.
I remember, I think the one that he was phenomenal in was the St. Edmund game, I believe, where he scored quite a few touchdowns and looked really outstanding. And he had a good year, but that was probably his best. And of course, it was fun to be able to beat my old school, and so it was fun playing that game. And then I remember beating ADM down there, and that was maybe our best game of the year. Phil Gose, I think, had a great night, both running and throwing the football that night.
And 1989 also, again, where the Rams didn't have a winning record. They were 4-5, Joe, but started to make progress, particularly offensively. The system now in its second year, and things were starting to come around.
Well, and Coach Kirby touched on it. I mean, that's where the offense started to develop with the diversity of that offense and setting up, with the eye back and then setting up with the wing back and that inside reverse and all the plays spun off of that wing back really became the trademark of these teams, and that's where you could see everything starting to evolve.
In 1989 in Ram football, let's take a look at the tapes.
Lane with the pass, complete. Gaston. Pass intercepted. By Nate Carver. Number 40, Larry Ford.
Here's Steve Carey returning a punt against Algona Garrigan in Algona. A 36-yard punt return for a touchdown. The Ram blockers create the lane along the sideline, and Carey does the rest. That's Danny Earlbeck, the punter
And passer.
and passer.
And again, that was a very gutsy move on their part because that was fourth down. Had they not made that, or had they had an incomplete pass down there, well, we would have been able to have great field position.
What a big night for Todd Geisler against Fort Dodge St. Edmund. A three-touchdown night, great run there. Made several tackles with 31. And on a reverse play, Ford hands it off to Todd Geisler. And it's cut back into the end zone, 26 yards for a score. Finally, Phil Gose will throw the ball 20 yards to Geisler in the end zone for a touchdown. Now the Rams against Carroll High. That's Larry Ford with a 30-yard touchdown run with a pass. And the Rams at Adel against ADM, and Phil Gose at quarterback. Quite a night running and throwing the ball. Here's a 65-yard touchdown run in the first quarter for Gose. Phil follows that up with a 9-yard scramble, avoiding the pressure and going into the end zone. Fourth quarter, a 31-yard scoring play through the air.